Both Graeme and Catherine have talked and read everything that is available to the public more about them. And there's a lot of information that has disappeared since we started asking. Certainly enough from me. And now I hand over to Graeme.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me at the back? Good. And just give you a few seconds to calibrate to a different accent. Just a bit more background. I've been in Australia just over 25 years. I've lived in Bassendean for 10, and 10 prior to that, I was right next to Bassendean in Swan. And I've always eyed Bassendean as a nice area to live in, hence my involvement in this. Just a bit more background. I'm an engineer by trade. I've worked as a project manager, so I understand, I would argue, both sides of the story. I've done this sort of role trying to justify projects to communities. It's a difficult job. What I'm saying is I can see both sides of the coin. Right, just to reiterate, for those of you who may not be familiar, just to orientate yourselves, Guildford Station is down that side. Bassendean Station is just off the map here, Guildford Road. The shopping centre, the Oval, and the BIC Reserve used to be this whole tract of land over here. So some of you might go, yeah, we know that. In a nutshell, the development is 110,000 square metres, 11 hectares. Just for calibration, if you look at property the other side of the railway line, you'll get 250 square metre blocks with an asking price of 250,000, sometimes more. It's around about $1,000 a square metre. If the density is higher, then the value is higher. Now, I don't want to mislead you. The whole 110,000 is not earmarked for buildings. From the information that we've seen, it's about 27,000 square metres. Simple maths, that's around about $30 million. It's substantial. We've had a number of announcements indicating it's up to about 400 flats and 5 stories. So something similar to what's on the corner of Old Perth Road and Whitfield Street. That block has 40 flats in it with some commercial space. So give you some calibration. As mentioned there, the mix of development and the reason there's potential for more, you'll see further on that land has been promised to be given to Swan Districts Football Club for them to develop to generate other income, which is unspecified, but that leaves it open for further development. I reiterate what Annie said, is that our intention here tonight is to share the information that we have found, not trying to lead you to say, you need to come to this conclusion or think this way, merely sharing what we have been able to uncover. Okay, on this slide, please don't worry if you can't read that blue block on the right-hand side. It's for people who will want to download this presentation, which will be put up on a link on the Facebook site. And there'll be a number of pastes out of original reports where you're able to go and check the source of the information and check that we're not making it up. And that's where that blue box is. So on with the slide, there's evidence of planning. Now on the right-hand side there on that blue box, in September 2014, Land Corp published a document mainly targeting developers. And the essence of that is captured in that blue square. It is remarkably similar to the Minister Day's announcement in mid-November, which is over a year later. Around about August 2015, we understand a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Swan District Football Club, Land Corp, and the town of Bassendean. Memorandum of understanding, it's a legal commitment The main parts of the commitment are to hand $3 million in funds to the Swan District Football Club and a parcel of land in total of about 7,400 square metres. The source of that's been from the Bassendean briefing. Then we had, as I mentioned, the Minister's announcement in November. We also further understand that a briefing has been given to some consulting engineers to be engaged by Landcorp, which closed at the end of last year, in December 2015. The reason I mention all these, it is inconceivable that Landcorp would make that announcement, a memorandum of understanding will be entered into, or a minister would make an announcement without some study and some plans having been developed. It's just inconceivable. It doesn't happen. You know, I've worked for some small companies, and even in small companies there's a rigor that you have to have some background for your announcements or commitments. The reason I mention this leads on to the next point. Residents have asked at council meetings. Residents for Bassendean have approached Landcorp directly, and residents have written letters to the Minister for Planning, Minister Day, and Minister of Lands, Mr. Redmond, asking for copies of these studies or plans, however conceptual, because we know they have to exist. And the response has been either refusal or no response. So, and on that, the response we've had from Landcorp and from the council via council meetings is those studies are irrelevant because we're starting with a clean sheet. Quote, clean sheet meaning we have no commitments, everything will be decided once we have discussion with the community, and then we'll develop what we're going to do from that. Now the point here is the bottom of the slide. I find that insulting when I know that commitments of substantial proportions have been made, the land to be developed has been identified, and then we're told it's a clean sheet. We've got a clean sheet, and this is where I've been open and saying the conclusion that we come to is saying that when that's occurring, we lose trust in the people that are telling that information. Simply, you have a clean sheet, but we have a lot of the answer already completed. It's inconsistent. I'll leave that there for now. Catherine will take over.